Hi everyone, it's Melissa, also known as Stitcher Mel, here on Flosstube and on Instagram, and I have a blog at stitchermel.com. I am back today with another Flosstube video. This is Flosstube number 15, and I know it's been almost a month since my last one. I think because I recorded so many in December, I got kind of a little burned out almost on doing Flosstube videos. So I was sick for a little bit. I wasn't feeling well. So it's just all things have combined to, it's been nearly a month since my last video. So I apologize for the gap, but hopefully I'll be back on track now. Excuse me. And I probably will actually post another one next week. We'll see how it goes. Because that would be my normal schedule, because I typically do them every other week, and next week would be my week to do one. So, but I didn't want to go yet another week without one, because I've got some fun things kind of planned for the one for next week, because it's going to be my Flosstube anniversary coming up on February 5th. So I've got, a few fun things planned for that. It'll be my 1-year anniversary since I started doing Flosstube. Yay! So, but anyway, today is Sunday, January 26th, and I do kind of want to start off on a bit of a sad note. I'm sure, like myself, many of you woke up this morning and heard the very sad news that we have lost a member of our stitching community, and the Flosstube community as well, and that's Leanne from Lost and Floss. Some of you may or may not have known she has been battling breast cancer for a bit, and unfortunately she lost that battle on Friday. And so my heart, she did her Flosstube videos on Lost and Floss with her best friend Barb, and as many of you know, my best friend is also a stitcher, and while Barb and Leanne have known each other far longer than Tracy and I have known each other, it's still, I can't even fathom what Barb is going through right now, losing her best. Getting a little emotional about it, just thinking about it. I know she's going through a really hard time having lost her best friend. And they have been best friends for decades. I mean, they were childhood best friends, and they have maintained that friendship all through the years. And of course, obviously, our hearts and thoughts go out to Leanne's family as they're dealing with the loss of their loved one. But so just kind of take an extra minute today and let your loved ones know how you feel about them and that you love them, because, we never know when our time is going to be. And, and sadly, right before I started recording this, I heard the news that Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter crash this morning, 41 years old. So sad to be gone so young. So yeah, we just never know. So, let your loved ones know how you feel about them, Anyway, on that note, we're going to move on. This is a channel about cross-stitching for those of you who are new, and for those of you who are my returning subscribers, thanks so much for joining me. I am actually getting very close to hitting the 3,000 subscribers mark, that milestone. I'm less than 50 subscribers away. So I just wanted to let everyone know that I am going to be planning a giveaway when I hit 3,000. Going to have probably 3 or 4 different things I'm going to be giving away. So definitely be watching for that. Also, not only is my Flosstube anniversary coming up in February, February is also my birthday month. And so I have decided to host a birthday sal. And even though I love a lot of very primitive, traditional, samplery type things, prairie schoolers and that sort of thing, I also really love some blinged out designs. I love my mirabilias. I've got a chatelaine going. And so I thought it would be fun to make it kind of a specific sal, but make it really wide so that a lot of people have the opportunity to participate if they want. So here's my little graphic I created. So it's going to be anytime in the month of February. So it'll be a month-long sal. anytime in the month of February, stitch on any design you have that has some sort of bling. That could be beads, it could be metallic fibers, petite treasure braid, Kreinik braids, sparkly blending filaments. Anything that would be some sort of bling or sparkle or whatever added, sequins, whatever. Anything you add to a project that makes it blingy. Stitch on one of those designs in February. And you don't have to actually stitch the blingy part. It just needs to be a design with a bling factor to it. And then when you post your pictures on social media, use the hashtag, which I'll put up here across the top. Hashtag Mel's Blinged Out B-Day Sal. So I hope a lot of you will join me. I've got a couple of memorabilias that I already have going, but I always do a new start for my birthday. And I think I'm going to do another one, another memorabilia as my new start. And it's going to be Santa, the memorabilia Santa, which I'll insert a picture here of that. It's a mostly full coverage piece, amazingly enough, which Nora typically does not do full coverage pieces. I did do the math on it to see what percentage of full coverage it is, and it is 97.8% coverage. So, yeah, it would definitely meet the criteria for full coverage fanatics. So, yeah, so that I think is going to be my new start. And that is another one that I actually previously had started and sadly was also lost during my move, apparently, or before the move, actually, now that I think about it, because I couldn't find it when I was getting ready to move. So I have no idea what happened to that project. Lost to the ethos. So, but yeah, still have the pattern, so I'm just going to start it again, because I do love that Santa. So that's going to be my birthday sal. I really and truly hope some of you will join me. Leave a comment below if you do want to join in with me, or you can leave me a comment over on Instagram. I did post about it on Instagram yesterday. I also posted a blurb about it in the Friday Off the Grid group on Facebook, which has kind of become my kind of go-to stitchy group. I'm also in several others. I think the one that I'm in that most people know about is Stitch Mania. But I've not been as active in that one lately. I still go in every couple of days and peruse around. But that group is just so big, it can be a little overwhelming. And so I haven't been as active in it. And I have decided I am not going to participate in Stitch Mania this year. I did participate in it last year, but I didn't like, for the lack of a better word, the frenzy of changing projects every day. I tend to be more of a person who likes to stitch on a project for a few days and then swap to something else. So I've just decided that while I love what Stitch Mania brings to the community, and I love watching other people's vlogs that they do during Stitch Mania, I'm just not sure it's something I particularly enjoy as a stitcher. But I still like the group. But anyway, because of that, Friday Off the Grid has kind of become my de facto home stitching group on Facebook. It is run by the amazingly wonderful Caroline from Off the Grid Needle Arts. And she runs a really great group. And there's a lot of really beautiful stitching that goes on in there. There is a lot of really great conversations about techniques and ways to do things and different styles. So yeah, if you have not already found that group, I would encourage you to check it out. And then the reason it's called Friday Off the Grid is every Friday evening we have a party from 6 to midnight local time, wherever you are, where we just stitch. Caroline does a Stitch With Me video generally, and that kicks off, she posts it at 6 o'clock her time, which she's on what I believe is Eastern time, because she's outside of Toronto, so I think that's Eastern time. So she's 3 hours ahead of me. So I always get it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Fridays when she posts one. But anyway, so yeah, I hope you'll check it out. Okay. My last Flosstube video was December 29th. So I did want to follow up and show you. This was where my 2019 Ort jar finished up for the year. So I had added my December Orts after I had recorded my last video. So yeah, this is not the medium size. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. It's Yankee Candle. It's there on the lid. This is like, I believe they call this the medium, just for a size reference. So this is a pretty good sized jar, and I basically filled it. I mean, I couldn't get it off. There's a little bit of room at the top, but not a lot. So yeah. And I'm not going to do the ornament. I know a lot of people do ornaments for each year, but it's just, that's not something that interests me necessarily. So I am just going to empty these out and put them probably into like a Ziploc baggie or something, and I'll use it for stuffing, little pin pillows and things like that, scissor fobs, whatever. Yep. And then I'll start collecting my 2020 orts in it. I've got a little small jar that I keep next to my stitchy chair, where I accumulate my orts for the month, and then at the end of each month I put them in here. So that's why this still has my 2019 orts in it. I haven't had to empty it yet. I didn't want to empty it till I showed it to you. Okay, and because it has been nearly a month since I recorded last, I do have 6 finishes actually to show you, which is kind of amazing. But as you know, my best friend Tracy, and by the way, before I get sidetracked on my finishes, if you are not already aware, Tracy started a Flosstube channel. We did it. Yay! She appeared with me in my Flosstube just before Christmas, the week before Christmas, and mentioned at the time that she was thinking of starting one. Well, she has indeed. And her channel name is Tracy Stitches, and that's the traditional spelling of Tracy, Tracy, Tracy Stitches. And I will link to her channel in the show notes. But yeah, she's got a couple of videos up already. So yeah, go and show her some love. Yeah, she did. She's done a really great job on the video she's posted. So now, my finishes. So since Tracy and I are doing the Year of Smalls, hashtag the Year of Smalls, I have several small finishes included in this. I'm also participating in the hashtag 2020 Ornaments 2020 Sal, something like that. Again, I'll link it in the show notes. And I believe that is Erica House, and oh my gosh, the other little woman's name is escaping me. It's like McGraw Made It or something like that. I should have looked that up before the video. Anyway, I apologize. But I know Erica is one of them, Erica House. And on a fun side note, speaking of Erica, she is someone that I have circled around and been reintroduced to in the stitching community. She and I, well, I don't know if she ever followed me, but I used to follow her back several years ago on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, when we were both more in the wellness kind of blogger phase of our lives. And while I am, again, trying to lose weight, doing WW, formerly known as Weight Watchers, and I'm down about 20 pounds so far. At that point in time, I was very active in that whole health, wellness, weight loss blogging community. And Erica was at the time as well. She, I believe, was a runner back in those days. I don't know if she still runs or not. But it was so amazing when I discovered she has a Flosstube channel, because I knew her from another, I knew her as another type of online persona, whatever you want to say. So yeah, so anyway, that's funny. But anyway, they're doing an ornament sal this year, and so I'm participating in that. So I've got not only, are they small projects, they're ornament projects for the most part. So on to the first one. This is Two Turtle Doves by Preschooler. This is from the 12 Days of Christmas chart, which is charted as one single piece that has all 12 days in it. And I believe it may say the 12 Days of Christmas across the bottom of that, but I'm doing them as individual blocks so that I can make them into ornaments. So yeah, this is 2 turtle doves. I am stitching these, I believe this is Platinum Lugana, 32 count. Yep, so that is the first one. The second piece here of fabric, I've got 2 on actually, so this is finishes 2 and 3. This one is, I believe it's called Carolyn Cardinals. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Carolyn Cardinals by Blue Ribbon Designs. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I am doing a version of Stitch from Stash. Now, I've had a couple of people ask me questions because I post some things, about my finishing credit and things like that. And they're saying, but I don't think that's the rules. I just want to make it very clear. I am not participating in the official Stitch from Stash group on Facebook that Stephanie runs. I'm doing my own version of it. I mean, it's the same basic premise. It is, basically you stitch from what you already own versus buying stuff constantly. But I do have a few more exceptions on mine than what are allowed or accepted in the main group or whatever. So mine is just a variation of that group, but I am not actively participating in that group. So I just wanted to make that clear. So for this one, I did get a $5 credit because and Tracy is doing this along with me, for our purposes, there's a minimum $5 finish credit on every piece, regardless of the size. So this one got me a $5 credit. I also got a $5 credit for Carolyn Cardinals. Yep. And then, and I actually got a 10% boost on this one because it has specialty stitches. It's got little Smyrna crosses. So yeah, anytime you have a specialty stitch, you get a little bump. So I got $5.50 for this one since I got the 10% bump. Then the second one, this was my third finish, but the second one on this fabric, this is called Trimming the Tree by Blue Ribbon Designs. And this is also a $5 credit. Both of these are stitched on 40 count mallow linen from Zweigart using the called for DMC. I believe it may have been charted for Fancy Floss, but there was a DMC conversion included. And so I used, these are, I'm pretty sure both from just ornament or just cross stitch ornament issues from years past. Okay, the next one I have is Chicken Joy. And this is a free design from Priscilla and Chelsea, Stitching with the Housewives. And you can find this ornament on Priscilla's blog, which I believe is priscillas2000.blogspot.com. And then you can either just, use the blogger search feature and search for Chicken Joy. But I'm pretty sure if you look in the sidebar on her blog, on a desktop, I don't know how it displays on a mobile device, but you can find it in there too, in like her popular posts or something like that. So, and this one I did use all the called for fancy flosses, except for the white. I did not buy fancy floss white. I used B5200 DMC because I have a cone of it. So, yep. And this is stitched on 28 count Midnight Lugana from Garibaldi Needleworks. And this, again, $6 finish credit on this one because it's a little bit larger. Okay, now this next finish, it kind of falls under haul as well. I ordered this right at the end of December, like on December 30th, I think. And I'm going to show the chart now. This is the Suffrage Act chart from Little House Needleworks. And I ordered this as a bundle deal from Dreama at Needlecraft Corner. You can see right there, Needlecraft Corner. But she puts together great bundles where she will put together the chart, the fabric, fibers, if it's, generally, she doesn't usually offer DMC stuff, but if it calls for overdyes or silks or something like that, she will put those together. So yeah, I got this so I could participate in the Suffragette Sal put together by, my mind just went blank. Cheryl and Colleen from Stitching with the Sisterlies, Michelle Bindi, and Erin from Two Martini Stitcher. So they're all doing this as a sal, and I decided to play along, and I've actually already finished it. So yeah, I was able to use this for a lot of Magical Stitches homework, and then that got me pretty far, and so then I just continued stitching on it and used it for stitches towards our group challenge for Cinderella's Castle. And yeah, I knocked this design out in about a week, I think, of stitching, 6 days, something like that. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. It's using all the called for flosses. The fabric is not the called for fabric because I believe it calls for 32 count Heritage from Silk Weaver, but I don't think Dreama carries Silk Weaver, so she substituted, and this is 32 count Colonial Parchment from Fabrics by Stephanie, which I think is really, really pretty. Yep. So yeah. So that was finish number 5. That one got me an $11 finishing credit. And then my final finish, and this was a big one. This was actually my birthday start for 2019, which I mentioned my birthday is coming up in 3 weeks. So with 3 weeks to spare, I finished my 2019 start. And this, oh, I love this so much. This is Be Inkspired by Stitch Rovia. It was originally in one of the British magazines. I don't remember which one. And I had purchased that magazine at the time because I loved this chart so much. But then she later actually released it as an individual chart in her Etsy shop. And I bought it again that way because it was just, the pagination on it was just much easier than the way it was split up in the magazine. So yeah, isn't it beautiful? And I did take some inspiration from Michelle Garrett, aka Michelle Bindi, here on Flosstube and Instagram, because this was charted with all Caucasian skin tones, and so I opted to change a couple of them. So if you notice here on the hands at the top, I converted one of them to be darker skin, and then I believe on Michelle's, she made the Sailor Girl dark skin. I opted and did the mermaid, a darker skin tone on mine because, you know what? I just think the world could use some more, brown skin mermaids. As Diana, It Is Kismet Stitches always says, representation matters, and it's really true. So I thought, little brown skin girls, you need some little brown skin mermaids. So there you go. This piece I also used quite a bit for Magical Stitches. Not as much for homework, but some for homework and a lot for Cinderella's Castle. But when the month of January started, I only had, let's see which side, this side. I only had this little red bit at the tip of the anchor filled in. So I filled in all of this anchor, this flower, and all of this bottom row during the month of January. So, I did, probably a third of filling in. And I had done the Yourself banner in the last week or two of December. So basically from about a month ago, I've done all of this bottom half in the last month. But I love how it turned out. And this is on 32 count Limestone Lugana from Whitechot, using all the called for DMC, other than the aforementioned modifications I made. Okay, whips. We will now move on to whips. The first thing, this was a new start. I literally started the day after my last Flosstube video. This is, oh gosh, I've wrinkled it up. This is Christmas Eve by the Preschooler. And I am doing this on 32 count lamb's wool. So that's all I've got started so far is one of the reindeer, but I got one done. This is the one that is immediately in front of the sleigh. So it's this reindeer right here. Yep. So I like how that one's looking so far. Okay, my next one, I don't have there's not a photo with the chart. So I will insert a picture here. This is Garden Party. Sorry, I'm making a note. I need to insert the picture. This is Garden Party from Satsuma Street. I am doing the cool colorway. This is on 32 count Jobelin. And so I finished the bird. I had just his head done. So I finished all the bird, put in this little diamondy motif, and did all of this toadstool. That was all for Magical Stitch's homework. Next piece, which I stitched on also for Magical Stitches. This is Away We Go from Country Cottage Needleworks. Oh, I guess it would help if I showed the pattern. And I'm doing this on 32 count blue spruce linen. And so one of the homeworks was stitching on something green. And so I did obviously the greenhouse. And I also put in the tree. All I had on this one before I started it was this house. So all of this is new. And so this got me the green prompt. I also used it for my most boring whip. And not necessarily that I think this whip is boring. I don't. I really enjoy it. But stitching a big block like this of a single color is kind of boring. So that's why I used it for that. I hope that notification isn't showing up on screen. I forgot to put my phone in airplane mode. So if it did, you saw that notification. Next up, I am participating in the Linens and Threads 2020 Friends and Family Mystery Sampler. This is part 1 that came out. It released for us in the United States the evening of December 31st because they release it UK time. And so it came out January 1st UK time. So yeah, so I was able to get in just in the nick of time to order fibers. The fabric I already had, again, this is 40 count mallow. I am stitching it with Threadworks Bleeding Hearts, which was recommended to me by, well, not to me specifically, but was a recommendation from Christine Slaughter, Stitch All the Things. She had stitched a Stony Creek Christmas Sentiments piece in that called for it, and she fell in love with it and was raving about it. And so I decided, oh, that would be beautiful for a monochromatic sampler. And so, yeah, that's, hang on, I'm writing down something I need to remember for my show notes. So yeah, that is where I'm at so far. There are, as you can see on the chart here, there's some initials that are on the chart, and I don't have those stitched. Basically, what the purpose of this Friends and Family is you would put in the initials of all your friends and family as you go. And I don't know yet for sure if I'm going to do that or if I'm just going to add some other little Quaker inspired motifs. On the original chart, this P, it's their dog, and the KK is the wife's initials. And I can't, I'm horrible with names. I know her name is Karen. I cannot remember his name from Linens and Threads. But the initials that are going to show up in the chart are their friends and family. So obviously I don't want to do that because I want it to be personalized to me if I do opt to personalize it. But I may just put in little tiny motifs to fill in those gaps and stuff instead of putting in initials. Okay, the next one I have, this was my New Year's start. Words. This is Rainbow Mandala from Shannon Christine Designs, which I think is gorgeous. It does have a lot of bling on it, so I could certainly stitch on this for my birthday Sal because it's blinged out. And I am stitching this currently on 32 count Jobelin, white Jobelin, but I'm planning to stitch this twice. I'm going to stitch it a second time when I get this one done on black, so I can have like the yin and the yang, but I haven't got very far on it, but I did get started, so I need to get back and put some more work in on this one. And so the part I have stitched is this part right in here. Yeah. And these are not ombre flosses or anything like that. This is all DMC, which makes this also a very affordable chart to stitch. And it's all full crosses. Yeah, so, I mean, for those of you who are Ada gangsters, this chart will work for you. No fractionals. Which, by the way, I am going to totally credit that Ada gangsters phrase to Jolynn from Acorns and Threads. She said that when I was at Fall Fling when we were talking, and it cracked me up. I had never heard it. Okay, next, I also started this on January 1st, but it was my Q1 high tea new start. And this is Ink Circles Henna Mandala. And I am stitching this on 32 count lamb's wool as well. And so that's my start. I am using the called for fiber, which is Gloriana Red Clay. So again, I haven't gotten that far on it, but hey, it's a start. So, okay, the next one is actually, I did buy this chart, so technically this would be haul. But in my Stitch from Stash, again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, that we're not part of the official one. Tracy and I are exempting charity chart purchases from our Stitch from Stash. So anything we purchase for charity, we don't have to count it against our Stitch from Stash budget because it's for charity. And so this is the Jane Marshall 1857 chart from Hands Across the Sea. Nicola put this out to aid two particular fire brigades in New South Wales as they're fighting the horrific fires in Australia. And 100% of the proceeds, less the PayPal fees, are being donated to these two brigades. And I did see, as of yesterday, I believe it was, or maybe Friday, she has already donated over $32,000 US to these two brigades, which is amazing. So this is a really great cause. And so I was happy to purchase this chart to participate. And plus, it's a really cute little sampler. I like that it's not really big. So, but here's my start on it. It's a little baby sampler. I'm doing it on the 40 count mallow linen. It is charted for silks, Veriswa silks, I believe, if memory serves. I don't have the full chart with me. I just have the cover, but I believe it's a Veriswa. But there is a DMC conversion listed, and so I'm doing the DMC conversion because those colors I had already, and I did not own the Veriswa silks, so I'm doing the DMC. And if you want a slightly more muted palette, if you decide to stitch this, you can check on Vanna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher. You can check her Instagram account. She posted her conversion, which is more muted tones. These, I mean, you can't really see the brightness so much since this is 40 count and it's kind of small. But when you see these threads, you're like, wow, those are bright colors. So, but it kind of tones them down a bit since I'm doing it on a higher count linen. But her conversion is really, really beautiful. And in fact, had I not already started it and gotten, because I was literally at this point almost when I saw her conversion. I probably would have done her conversion if I had not already started it, but I wasn't going to restart. Okay, so then my last whip I'm going to show, this one is still on the Q-snaps because it's what I've been working on. Oh, and I forgot to mention, with the being expired, I finished that up during day 1.5-ish. I finished it yesterday. But this weekend is one of the 24 hours of cross-stitch marathons. So the goal is to stitch 24 hours out of a 48-hour window. I'm not going to hit it. I'm going to only get to about 18 or 19 hours of stitching time. But I was able to finish this. So during the 24 hours of cross-stitch, I'll bring this back up, I finished this piece and then did all of the mermaid, or the sailor girl piece during the 24 hours of cross-stitch. I might have had one or two things. Like, when I'm stitching over here, if I've still got thread on the needle, I would go in and finish out using that length. So there was a little bit, I believe, maybe filled in on her already. But I mostly did her. And then I switched to my pumpkin house from Shannon Christine Designs. And I've almost got this finished. I might be able to finish this one this afternoon or evening because it's getting really close. All I have left to do is fill in the pumpkins here, add the back stitching on the leaves, and then finish the little gingham border across the bottom. And I will say, these, by the way, there's 3 individual charts. I am stitching them together to make one contiguous piece, but you could stitch these individually. And I noticed this weekend while I've been stitching on it, trying to get the Q-snap off. There we go. I noticed that when I finished square one, which was pumpkin truck, I totally forgot the clouds. There's supposed to be 3 little clouds in there. So I'm going to have to go back. Oh, and I just realized I forgot the little heart right here too, like that. So yeah, I was clearly spacing when I thought I had finished square one. So yeah, so this is pumpkin truck. This is pumpkin house. The last chart in the series is called pumpkin patch, which is a cute little scarecrow. So you can certainly stitch these all individually, or you can do like I am doing and stitch them all as one piece. Shannon does have a model on her, or a mock-up, whatever you want to call it, on her website showing it, which I will put right here. So that's what it looks like when all 3 pieces are done together. And I'm thinking that last one, pumpkin patch, is going to stitch a lot faster than pumpkin truck and pumpkin house, because like the truck one had the big, not big, but it had the truck, which is, considerable amount of stitching. This one had the house, which again, considerable amount of stitching. But pumpkin patch is just like, a couple of sunflowers and the scarecrow, which is not very big. So I'm thinking that one's going to probably stitch up the fastest of the 3. So, while Be Inspired was my focus piece for January, I think finishing this is going to be my focus for February. And along with doing the Year of Smalls with Tracy, we're also doing a Stitch 6, which is a modification of Michelle Rudy's Stitch 9 challenge from last year, which she is also doing a Stitch 10, I believe, for 2020. We decided, since we had set the goal to do 20 small finishes, that we were going to bring our Stitch 9 down a bit, and we were going to do a Stitch 6. So Being Inspired was one of my 6. This entire panel is a second one of mine. So I think this is going to be my focus in February, so I can try and get this one done. So that way I will have 2 of my 6 projects done and finished by the end of February, hopefully. So yeah. So that is the last of my whips, I believe. Yeah. So now haul. I do have a little, and of course, I'm not going to have a whole lot of haul in most of my videos this year because of the Stitch from Stash challenge we're doing. But I will say this, I have managed to already amass $47.50 in credit. Yeah. I did make one purchase and I forgot to print out the chart. I purchased a Haid. I don't know when or if not if, but I do hope to someday stitch it, but I don't know when it will be. It won't be this year. But I did pick up the Farewell to Anger, which I have to write this down because I realized I forgot it. Haight had a half price sale earlier in the month. And so I purchased it while it was on sale. And I purchased the mini version, which is still big. I mean, they call it mini, but it's still big. So at half price, it was only $6. So I've had $47.50 in finishing credits. I've spent $6. So that brings my total down to $41.50 of credit. This was one I actually purchased in December, but it didn't come in until after my last video. It came in the next day, I believe, or maybe 2 days later, right around the start of the year. So this is the Snowman, Santas and Snowmen chart from Preschooler. Love this chart. I actually had been looking at it for a while, but what kind of sealed the deal for me was this little Santa right here. Olivia from Pumpkin Hollow Quilts had stitched that for her ornament exchange at Fall Fling. And it was so cute. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. So I was like, yeah, I need that chart. So I went on and picked that up when I did a 1, 2, 3 stitch order at the end of December. And then the next one, this is another one that was an exemption because it was a charity chart. I picked up the acceptance chart from Michelle Bindi Stitchy Designs. And so what this says is acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means understanding that something is what it is and there's got to be a way through it. And boy, howdy, does that resonate with me. I know this, I believe she said this is a Michael J. Fox quote, and that is the fundraiser this month for her auctions. She is raising money for the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research. But I am a sexual abuse survivor, and this resonates with me. So I was there for it. Yep. So I picked that up. And that's all I'm going to say about that. The next one, I guess it's not truly haul because it's a freebie, but Leanne from 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers, she put out a freebie chart for a Sal. This is the Louisa Acton aged 11 Sal. And there's not a photo of it. It's just the chart. But since it is a freebie, I'll flash it real quick. And this is another small chart, kind of like the Jane Marshall sampler is. So I am really excited. Once I finish Jane Marshall, this one will go into the rotation after that. So yeah, super cute. You can get it on the 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers Facebook page, but all that is there, since it's a business page and not a group, she couldn't do a PDF. She couldn't post the PDF file, so they're image files. But if you are a member of the, what is the name of that group? Our Year Samplers. Our Sampler Years. Our Sampler Years, which I believe, if memory serves, Nicola is one of the admins of that group. The PDF is there in that group, and you can download it there. If you know. And I had a little bit of trouble trying to get the image one to print. It wasn't turning out very well on my printer. It just wasn't a very good quality. But once I got the PDF, as you can see, it prints just fine. So yeah. But I did want to share about that. Then the last thing, again, this was like my last order, or my order at the end of December. So it was kind of like my last big order before Stitch from Stash kicked in. I did order some fabrics. The first thing I have is, they're kind of, threads are running together from the serger. This is a piece of 32 count lamb's wool Jobelin. I purchased this for Watch It Snow by Waxing Moon Designs. Here's a picture of what that chart looks like. So this is a big enough cut for that. The next piece is 32 count vintage country Mocha, Belfast. I can't read these things backwards in my camera. Mad props to those of you who do. I never can do it. I can get the count, usually, but then it's just like words, backwards, no, not happening. But I ordered this piece for Santa Claus is Coming to Town by the Little Stitcher. And again, I put that picture right there. So that is a large enough cut for that piece. Next up, I ordered a half yard of 28 count black Jobelin. And this is actually going to be for 2 pieces, which I'll probably have a little bit left over, but a fat quarter wasn't going to be enough for both pieces. One of the pieces is going to be for, let me grab the picture again, the black fabric version of Rainbow Mandala. So I will be stitching, once I finish the white one, I'll be stitching it on black. And then the other project is the Bright and Merry series from Shannon Christine Designs. I also want to do that on black since it's kind of a chalkboardy looking style piece. So that's what will go on this fabric. And then the last one, I don't have any specific project for it. It's just one of my favorite fabrics. And so I bought a yard of it. This is, there I go again, 32 count platinum Lugana. So yeah, big old piece of that. And this is what I'm doing a lot of my ornaments on. So I'm sure a good chunk of it will get used for that this year. So, but yeah, it's just like one of my absolute favorite neutral fabrics, platinum Lugana. I don't mind stitching on linen, but I definitely prefer even weaves. I just like the feel of them, and here's the sad truth. It's just so much easier to iron them when my pieces are done. When I use overdyed flosses and stuff, of course, I don't want to wash a finished piece. And since I use Q-snaps, they tend to get very wrinkled. And because the even weaves are blends, they just iron out much easier. So that's why I tend to like the even weaves. Plus, the unevenness of linens at times can kind of mess with me. I like the precision of even weaves. Okay, so that takes care of haul. I think that's it. Yeah, I think I've covered everything. Again, I do hope to be back next weekend for my Flosstube anniversary video. And again, I'm getting super close to 3,000 subscribers. I'm also really close to 3,000 Instagram followers. And I did want to make mention about that as well. I get a lot of people who start following me on Instagram. And if you have your account on Instagram is marked private, I totally get it. I've got another account on Instagram that is marked private. It's not open to the public. So I understand why some people want to have their accounts marked private. And I respect that. So if your account is set to private and you follow me, I typically do not follow you back unless you're someone I know or I know very well through the online community. That has happened a few times. I respect your right to have your account private, and I'm not going to send a follow back request. That being said, if you don't mind that I follow you back, then just shoot me a DM on Instagram and say, hey, I know my account's marked private, but you're more than welcome to follow me if you would like. Then I will do that. But typically, if your account is marked private, I am not going to send you a follow back request because I want to respect your right to be private. So, okay, so that's that. I covered that. But anyway, yeah, so I'm getting really close to 3,000 followers on Instagram and really close to 3,000 subscribers here on Flosstube. So there will be a giveaway when I hit that milestone. So, yeah. I think that's it. I hope everyone has a really, really great rest of your Sunday. And hope the week goes well for you. Again, just as I opened up talking about Leanne and Kobe Bryant's deaths, hug your loved ones a little extra tight today and let them know you care about them. And yeah, I guess that's it. All right. I don't want to get emotional again. All right. Bye, everyone.